This video lecture is recording Introduction to Formal Language and Automata Theory under the course Formal Language and Automata Theory. This is B.N. Raju, Assistant Professor, Department of CSC, SRK Engineering College. The objectives of the video lecture are to study the importance of automata in computer science, to understand the core concepts of automata theory, to learn the architecture of finite automata and its working mechanism. Why study automata theory? There are several reasons why the study of automata and complexity is an important part of the core of computer science. First reason, introduction to finite automata. Finite automata are a useful model for many important kinds of hardware and software. Let us consider some of the most important kinds. First one, software for designing and checking the behavior of digital circuits. Second one, the lexical analyzer of a typical compiler. Third one, software for scanning large bodies of text. Fourth one, software for verifying systems of all types that have a finite number of distinct states. There are many systems or components like above that may be viewed as being at one of a finite number of states. The purpose of a state is to remember the relevant portion of the system's history. Since there are only finite number of states, the entire history generally cannot be remembered. So the system must be designed carefully to remember what is important and forget what is not. The advantage of having only a finite number of states is that we can implement the system with a fixed set of resources. For example, the simplest non-trivial finite automata is a on-off switch. The device remembers whether it is in the on state or of the off state, and it allows the user to press a button whose effect is different depending on the state of the switch. That is, if the switch is in the off state, then pressing the button changes it to the on state. And if the switch is on the on state, then pressing the same button turns it on to the off state. So the finite automata for this non-trivial switch on off switch is shown here. One state is off and another state is on. By pushing the switch, it turns to the on. Again pushing the same switch, it turns to the off. Second reason, structural representations. There are two important notations that are not like automaton but play an important role in the study of automata and their applications. Grammars. Grammars are useful models when designing software that process data with a recursive structure. Regular expressions. Regular expressions also denote the structure of data, especially text strings. Third reason, automata and complexity. Automata are essential for the study of the limits of computation. There are two important issues. What can a computer do at all? The study is called decidability, and the problems that can be solved by computer are called decidable. What can a computer do efficiently? This study is called interactability, and the problems that can be solved by a computer using no more time than some slowly growing function of the size of the input are called tractable. Central concepts of automata theory. First one, sets. A set is a collection of elements without any structure other than membership. To indicate that X is an element of the set S, we write it as X belongs to S. The statement that X is not in S is written as X doesn't belongs to S. A set can be specified by enclosing some description of its elements in curly braces. For example, the set of integers 0, 1, 2. It is shown as S is equal to curly braces 0, 1, 2. Alphabets. An alphabet is an finite non-empty set of symbols. Conventionally, we use the symbol sigma for an alphabet. Sigma is equal to 0, 1 with a binary alphabet. Sigma is equal to A, B, C, D, so on to Z, the set of all lowercase letters. Strings. A string is a finite sequence of symbols chosen from some alphabet. For example, 0, 1, 1 is a string from binary alphabet sigma is equal to 0, 1. The empty string. The empty string is a string with zero occurrence of symbol and it is denoted by using epsilon. Length of a string. It is often useful to classify strings by their length, that is, number of positions for symbols in the string. The standard notation for the length of the string W is mod W, that is length of the string W. For example, length of string 0, 1, 1 is 3. Powers of alphabet. If sigma is an alphabet, we can express the set of all strings of certain length from that alphabet by using exponentation notation. We can use sigma power k to be the set of strings of length k, each of whose symbols is in sigma. For example, if sigma is equal to a comma b, then sigma square is equal to AA, AB, BA, BB. The set of all strings for an alphabet sigma is conventionally denoted by using sigma star. For instance, 0, comma 1 whole star. It is equal to nothing but epsilon 0, 1, 00, 01, so on. That is nothing but a set of all binary strings. Concatenation of strings. Let x and y be the strings. Then xy denotes the concatenation of x and y. That is string followed by copy of x and following by it a copy of y. Languages, a set of strings, all of which are chosen from some sigma star. Where sigma is a particular alphabet is called a language. If sigma is an alphabet and L is subset of sigma star, then L is a language over sigma. For example, the language of all strings consisting of n zeros followed by n ones for some n greater than 0, that is 0, 1, 00, 11, 000, 111, so on. A formal language is an abstraction of general characteristics of programming languages. A formal language consists of set of symbols and some rules of formation by which these symbols can be combined into entities. Those are called as sentences. A formal language is a set of sentences permitted by rules of formation. Problems. In automata theory, a problem is a question of deciding whether a given string is a member of some particular language. A problem can be expressed as a membership in a language. More precisely, if sigma is an alphabet and L is a language or sigma, then the problem L is given a string W in sigma star, decide whether or not W is in L. Automata. An automata is an abstract model of a digital computer. As such, every automata includes some essential feature. It has a mechanism for reading input. It will be assumed that the input is a string or some given alphabet written on a input tape, which the automata can read but not change. The input tape is divided into cells, each of which can hold one symbol. The input mechanism can read the input tape from left to right, one symbol at a time. The input mechanism can also detect the end of the input string. The automata can produce output of some form. It may have some temporary storage device consisting of unlimited number of cells, each capable of holding a single symbol from an alphabet. The automata can read and change the contents of storage cells. Finally, the automata has finite control, which can be in any one of the finite number of internal states and which can change the states in some defined manner. An automata is assumed to operate in discrete time frame. At any given time, the finite control is in some internal state, and the input mechanism is scanning a particular symbol on the input tape. The internal state of the finite control at the next time step is determined by next state or transition function. This transition function gives next state in terms of current state, the current input symbol, and the information currently in the temporary storage. During the transition from one time interval to the next, output may be produced or the information in the temporary storage changed. The term configuration will be used to refer to particular state of the finite control, input tape, and temporary storage. The transition of an automata from one configuration to the next will be called a move. The general model covers all the automata. A finite control will be common to all specific cases, but the differences will arise from the way in which the output can be produced and the nature of the temporary storage. As we will see, the nature of the temporary storage governs the power of different types of automata. It will be necessary to distinguish between deterministic and non-deterministic automata. A deterministic automata is one in which each move is uniquely determined by the current configuration. If we know the internal state, the input, and the contents of the temporary storage, we can predict the further behavior of the automata exactly. In non-deterministic automata, this is not so. At each point, a non-deterministic automata may have several possible moves. So we can only predict a set of possible actions. An automata whose output response is limited to simply yes or no is called an acceptor. Presented with an input string, an acceptor either accepts the string or rejects it. A more general automata capable of producing strings of symbols as output is called transducer. Finite automata are characterized by having no temporary storage. Since an input tape cannot be rewritten, a finite automata is severely limited in its capacity to remember things during the computation. A finite automata of information can be retained in the finite control by placing the unit into a specific state. But since the number of states is finite, a finite automata can only deal with situations in which the information to be stored at any time is strictly bounded. Definition of the finite automata. A finite automata consists of a finite set of states and set of transition from one state to another state that occur after applying input symbols from the alphabet sigma. Thank you.